now. Okay, so what we'll start with here, Michael, like I just said, is just have you kind of walk us through your 30, 60, 90, and then we'll kind of go from there as far as our questions for you, and then if you have any questions for us or whatnot. So go ahead.
Let me actually open another device because
Oh, okay.
it's too small for me on the
Okay.
here.
Yeah, I don't know if I can.
Could, but
I don't know if I can make this bigger. Well, I can here. Let me see.
oh, there you go. Okay, so should be actually can expand it in there. There you go. All right, so the idea with this, and let me just go a little bit later. So in the first 30 days, what I would like to do is to identify exactly to see the scorecards for the last 6 months and really identify what are the things that each one of the SHPs is having challenges with. I think that the scorecard will give like a pattern of what's going on. And I think that it would not be only the numbers. I would like to open every single one of the details of each one of them to see the reason why they're coming back, and then focus on the ones that they actually have control over. And then I was thinking about having a call with them. The reason for the call is I want to hear from them exactly what are the challenges that they're facing. Because I think that the scorecard will be kind of half of the story. I want to know why are they having those challenges. And I don't think that I will bring it up as the main point of the conversation at the beginning when it's in the first 30 days call, because during those 30 days I really want to know each one of them to see what areas they're really strong at and those that they need help, and then those areas that they also recognize that they actually need help, that they're struggling with, that again the scorecard might not tell me about it, and then put a plan together of what can we do to address those areas and help them to become stronger in those areas that they're actually having trouble with or they are not doing for whatever reason they are. And that will lead me to the 60 days. In the 60 days, that's when I will start talking with them and actually trying to come up with a plan with them. I don't want to make the goals for them. I will not believe that will be as effective as them making the plans themselves. So once I discuss every single one of the challenges that they have and where they need the help, I want them to tell me what are the areas that they think that they can address to make sure that those areas become stronger every single time. At the same time, I think that giving them suggestions and working with them and what will work better for them in that process would be useful. So it's more of personalizing the needs that each one of them have. And then during that time, there are always FSPs that are better than at doing something. They're naturally better at maybe remember information or remember the whole components of, for example, the thermostats. I know that if I have a problem with a thermostat, I call Bryce because for some reason that guy remembers every single detail about that, or the possibilities of what is doing what. And for me, having a challenge to really learn like all the different things that can happen if you put the wire in the wrong place, or if the thermostat or the AC unit behave in a certain way. So I'm always calling him, for example, for some guidance on that. And recognizing that area, I would like to do kind of like some weekly calls where if 3 of the team members are having struggles with thermostat, and that's maybe one of the reasons why they're coming back, to put, for example, Bryce or someone that is strong in that area in a call where they can really talk and ask questions about it frequently enough where they feel comfortable with it. At the same time, maybe put point persons for certain problems that they can find when they're working. Because I think sometimes they rely a lot, for example, calling the same persons, and sometimes that person might not be the best one to give them that solution. So if we know who's strong on what, that would allow them to know who to call. Because, for example, some of the guys have called me asking me a thermostat, and I help them out, but there are certain circumstances that my answer is like, hey, for you, it would be better to call tech support or actually call this person at that point, because it would be better able to help you and give you the answer that you need than me trying to figure out with you. Let me see. Can you go to the 90 days if you don't mind?
Yeah, sorry.
Now, how the scorecards work, normally it will take a while before we actually start seeing what we're doing this month. It will take until next month, I believe, right, before we can actually start seeing what they're doing and the changes that they're implementing. It's a month or 2 months behind, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on which metric you're referring to. But yeah, I mean, it may or may not be a month or two because, for example, Chris, he did one install last month, like late last month, and then he had a
Okay.
return appointment on that install on June 1st. So we see that immediately. We see that within like, a few days. So it could be that it is a month or two out where, if it's, because it can wait. Yeah, exactly. It could be between the 30 and 60 days, but it also could be within a week or two, to be honest. Same with his SOS 30. He started this month when I sent out the first one. He started this month at 0 SOS 30, and now he's at 50% because we went back to one of his service tickets that he did over the last couple of weeks, right? So
Okay.
it could be a month or two, but it could be also almost immediate, depending on what you're talking about in the situation.
Like DIR will be right away. Okay. So again, those will go accordingly. Start to seeing more the result of the approaches and the things that we start implementing in the 60 days, more towards the 90 days or the end of the 90 days, depending on which one we're going to be looking at. And then I think it would be important to go back and then see what areas they may be having trouble with in the plan that they're trying to implement. I know that many times we make plans and they don't work as we expected to, and they're not going to work at all, and it would be nonsense to try to keep going in the same direction. And maybe going back with them and adjusting accordingly to be able to keep improving would be key. And then create some sort of accountability that they will agree themselves on how to make it happen. So they also feel that kind of little pressure on getting that done, because that will help them to keep pushing themselves, but also know that, hey, we're talking about you specifically and the goals that you're setting for yourself, which in return would help the entire team to actually get better and improve. And then I put additional approaches, and the reason that I put that is I think there's some things that they have to be a constant, that we will have to work all the time. I think many of the SHPs are actually working constantly on the things that they cannot control. They're focusing a lot on the concerns that they have. As valid as they are or not, they're still focusing on that and wasting a lot of time and energy on that. And that, of course, we know that it creates problems, because then they're not as happy at work, they're more stressed as a result of focusing on the things that we cannot do anything about. And I put there validate, and then address them to actually allow them to concentrate and work with them and concentrating on the things that they can actually do, and help them see how those things that they can actually do will influence everything else in their work environment and the scorecard and everything else that they're doing. And the other one is there are a few of the new team members that when I've gone with jobs with them, I have noticed that they struggle, they get to blocks really easily when there are things that are new. They don't know what to do, they freak out, and that results in more time in the job. They start calling everyone trying to see, and many times the explanation that they give you is impossible for you to really see what's going on. And the best way is for us to or drive there or try to do our best to troubleshoot it with them in there. But I think those circumstances is like allowing them to, or somehow work with them for them to feel more comfortable doing them. And I think that more training, it doesn't have to be training like the ones that we do in our team meetings, but small trainings during the week where we can get them on the phone for like a half an hour or whatever time it is, where they can bring the experiences that they have during the week and then feed each other with the experiences that they're having, because most likely they're similar, and then work with them in finding new solutions, saying, hey, like maybe that was a solution, but you could have done it like in these other ways. So provide them more options that the guys would experience. They come naturally because we have been doing it for so long that we know what things to check. And it's not necessarily from the experience with the Sky Control, for example, itself. We have done it with the Go Control and the system that we had before. And that experience is extremely hard to put 10 years of experience in them and trying to get them to have the same logic and troubleshooting experience that the more experience have. But I think that it's the same as, I don't know, a parent with their kids. Like, definitely we won't be able to teach them the 30 years that we have on them, but we can definitely give them the tools to, by the time that they get where we are, it's going to be double the person that we are at the moment. And I think it's going to be similar with the SHPs to get us in the same place, to allow them to get the tools to be able to be more successful in their job and know where to go. Because I think that I remember being new and the frustration that it was to not know where to turn and getting answers that didn't make much sense at the moment and being frustrated and stressful, and I hated my life at that point. And all that is something that I think we can help them avoid and be more comfortable with. And I think that will cover most of the 30 to 90 days. Do you guys have any questions?
Not right now. I might get into some questions a little bit later about this, about some of the things that you mentioned and things like that. But I'm good right now. I just kind of wanted you to kind of go through it and talk through kind of your plan to start out. And we might have some questions, we probably will, about some of these things. But thanks for putting it together and going over it with us. Do appreciate it. I'm going to go through some of my questions for you. And then Tommy will have some questions also, and then we'll talk through some of these things. So my first question is, why do you want to be in leadership?
I personally love to work with the guys. I really love to, excuse me, the other phone is connected to the, sorry. I want the guys calling before you ask me something like that. So for me, I want to have the ability to provide better tools for them to do their job, and I really enjoy doing that. I think I've been doing it for a really long time, and that's something that I feel that will be the next step. I think that I really want to work with them in a different level, and I like to be involved with other people and help them. Like the same reason why I like the job a lot is because I actually can help people and I enjoy knowing that I'm helping someone to do something or to feel protected or whatever the reason they, as long as it's helping someone in some way, it's something that I really enjoy and it's a passion of mine. I think that's the reason why I would like to go into leadership position.
Okay, you're kind of your voice kind of sounds kind of weird.
That's it.
Okay, now it's better.
Ah.
Okay.
Great.
All right. I just wanted to. It was sounding kind of. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but okay. All right. Thanks. And then, what is the difference between, in your opinion, between a leader and a manager?
Well, I think there are two things that can result from either or with people. People follow you because you're a leader, or people follow you because you might be their manager and you have authority over them to some extent in the work environment. I think putting the both of them together is the most effective way to work with it. But I will lean more to the leadership because of the ability that we have, because people have more passion when they follow someone and when they're listening to someone and they're only doing it because they might get in trouble or because, again, you have authority over them and that's the only reason why they follow it.
Okay. All right. Tell me one personal thing you know about each one of your teammates.
All right. In general, or you have to be about the job?
It's one personal thing. So one personal thing you know about each one of your teammates. It can be anything.
Okay, so I know that Emilio and David are related. Both of them come from Mason. David went to school. I'm trying to, in a general sense, David went to school to get his PT, and he's planning to go as a PTA. Emilio got married not too long ago. Hopefully start popping kids really quick. Then we have Julio, I guess. I don't know if that counts because he's my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
But he's married to my sister.
Yeah.
He had 3 kids. He used to have a baby and have a son with autism, which is one of the main reasons why he moved over here. Derek is obsessed with computers. He likes them a lot, and he's studying cybersecurity. Bryce just have a baby girl, and he just decided to put the helmet on the baby girl as Darth Vader, which I have to admit it looks legit. Corey have most of his family in Chicago, and he has a little girl with his girlfriend. He's hoping to get married soon, we hope.
When?
I don't know exactly the date. No, I don't know exactly the date. I know that he's working on that.
Okay.
I would like to tell you the exact date on when this is planning to happen. Chris, I don't know much about Chris, but I know that he's speaking on what he does on the job, and he comes from Summer mainly. That's his background. Like he has been moving quite a lot, like we discussed in the meeting. Juan, I think he's a civil engineer.
Sorry?
And he always liked to have Juan.
He's what?
He's an engineer.
Yep, he did. Yep, he has a degree.
In engineering, yeah, which is legit. Luis he has been with us for a long time, and his personal thing. I don't know much personal, Luis. I just know how detailed he is with the stuff and how dedicated he is with stuff. So I don't know much about his personal things on him. I was going to say Hector, but Hector is not with us anymore.
No.
Jason, it's LDN. I don't even know how to pronounce that thing. It's before being a nurse, and he really wants to be
It's LPN.
LVN?
I think it's LPN with a P.
Oh, that's a new one. Okay. So it is. He has a little girl, and his wife also works kind of in the medical field. Rudy, he wants to have another baby. He has a couple of girls, and he loves weights, which I think is well known. And Tommy is his uncle. Well, at least that's what we got to call him.
Tommy is his uncle?
And yeah, that's how we joke, that Tommy is his uncle. Because the relationship they have, so he called Tommy his uncle.
I might as well be his uncle, basically.
Yeah.
It's like one of the unrelated, related type deals.
Yeah.
And then finally, Roberto. I think Roberto and Luis are the main ones that I do not know any really personal details about them. Like I talked to them, but I never have gone into like personal conversations about their lives and things like that. And I don't believe I am missing anyone. Do I include you, Joe?
Hey, it's up to you.
Joe is obsessed with Apple. Even though he tries to avoid buying the products, he will buy it. It's just a matter of time before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife is more cool than him.
That's true. All right. If I asked your teammates, how many of them would say they speak to you often?
Often meaning weekly, monthly, every 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm choking myself out somehow. How do you call often?
You just tell me.
Okay, so often, every 1 week or 2 weeks, I will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8. Between 6 and 8 of them that I talk to them frequently enough. Some of them, of course, more frequently than others.
Right. You okay?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm choking.
Need some water or something?
No, I'm good.
Okay. No, I mean, I'm being serious.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. And then I mean, obviously we have a lot of things going on. I mean, pros have a lot of things going on. Team trainers have a lot of things going on. FSMs, RMs, everyone has a lot of things going on, but a lot of priorities, a lot of objectives, a lot of things to take care of and accomplish.
Okay.
So if you have, if you feel like you have a lot to do or maybe even too much to do and not enough time to do it, how do you handle that? And do you have a specific example?
I think it depends in which area, if I have a lot to do, but I think many times when we get overwhelmed as leaders, might be a lack of us trusting the people around us to help us with our plate and what we can accomplish with that plate. The belief that we might be able to be better suited to do whatever task we have at hand. And I think that actually delegating and trusting others is going to be the best way to do that. And then you asked me, what was the last question, the other part of it?
Do you have a specific example of a time you've done something, had the situation or scenario like that and how you handled it?
I think the time that it happened not too long ago where I have a lot going on. My wife's car broke down and I needed to, I didn't want to reschedule the entire day. So I actually let everyone know you were able to help me to move some of my jobs so I can take care of my family and move the car and at the same time go and do the jobs for the day.
I think I even stayed at a house for you while you left.
Yeah, so at that point, yeah, I left you in a house for me to, I think that's the first time in 9 years that I left a customer, someone in there, and actually had to come back. But for me, that was the only way to ensure that we were taking care of all the customers that day. And it worked really good. I didn't plan for him upgrading that much. I'm being so picky that took extra longer than I expected to achieve it, but I left you there, trusting that you would do a good job for me to be able to go pick up my kids and then come back for the job to finish it.
Okay. All right. That is all of my questions right now. Like I said, I might have more. Do you have any questions for Tommy or I right now?
From me to Tommy?
Do you have any questions for us?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So that's for my questions right now. I'm good. Like I said, I might have some more or some follow-ups, but
Okay.
Tommy, you're up.
All right. I'll go ahead and just kind of get right to my questions, man. So who was the lowest person other than Chris on the last scorecard, and what would you do with them to improve them?
I think it was Julio. I'm not 100%. I just saw it, but I don't. But I will figure out for you right now. It was Julio. I think the first thing that I would do with him is work with. I will have to open every single one of the areas and why his score is down, but working mainly. Him being a new guy, I know that Julio is stressing when he finds himself that he's taking longer in jobs. He goes in a block, like he freaks out, and then he starts making poor decisions at that point. And I know that that's in part of lack of experience, but I think that that's something that I would like to address first. And I think I will focus mainly on if he keeps the the understanding of him, that I understand that it's a block that we want to arrive at the customers, where there's certain circumstances that we cannot control. And that's for us to just communicate with the customers and keep it going and communicate with the team. And if we're doing everything that is under our control, that he has to keep calm and keep going and taking care of the customer that he's working with at the moment. At the same time, I don't know what his scorecard is lower, but I think that the scene 30, I believe that is in part of relationship of that reason specifically, going back to jobs, because he freaked out and he made a mistake that he had to go back to fix. So I think those are the things that I will focus mainly on him.
Okay, thank you. And then just a note. I'm taking notes and typing, so there may be some gaps in between when you give an answer. I may be finishing the sentence or something like that. Typing what you just thinking. So, okay. So I mean, like you said, talking about the stress that he has on the job and freaking out, making bad decisions, and addressing that. Ensuring that he's doing everything right. But how would you go about that? Doing that as far as addressing the stress that causes him to make the wrong decisions and stuff like that? How would you go about that a little bit more detail?
Okay, I think I will try to get him to tell me as many details as he can about it. I think that it might be more to the situation than what I actually know and the experiences that I have seen with him. But I think I will first address how important it is to do the right thing in every single job, without matter what is going to happen later. And I think I will work with him to come up with an approach and address his concerns about it. Because again, I believe that idea that you come up with yourself and you put for yourself is going to be 1,000 times better than the one that someone else give you, with the hope that you will implement it and do the result that the other person wants. So I will work with him in finding solutions of what things will get him better. Because for example, Julio, it might be that, I don't know, I was talking to Joe at one point about him going to the car and just relaxing about it. I think for Julio, you give him a pack of Doritos and a Coke, and that guy will be like a charm after that. So just things like that I know that it might be more tailored to him that will help him to achieve that. But I think the best way to find out those things is for actually Julio to work to them and actually realizing what things are going to allow him to be more successful in those areas. Especially because then after that, there are other challenges that he's going to face as an HSP, that he will be able to follow the same pattern to find those solutions. I don't think that them relying on us giving other solutions are going to actually do the trick. I think we want to see something that will be constant and reliable, and it will keep happening. We have to allow them to grow on that sand and find the solutions for themselves.
All right, thank you. Who have you reached out to get better and improve personally and professionally? And this is you getting better, not somebody else calling you to get better, but you actually reaching out to someone else to get better and improve on yourself personally and professionally.
So professionally, I will say that one of the main persons that I call is going to be Bryce, because the experience that he has has helped me a lot. So normally when I go to him, and again for the thermostat, that's a charm. Like I really struggle with it, and I actually talk to him about him explaining me a little bit better and explain it. But sometimes Bryce can be extremely technical, and honestly, like I have to have a dictionary next to me to also get the meaning of the stuff that he's saying. But he helped me a lot in progressing in that sense. And I think that many times I rely on him. I have talked to, if I have an SHP on the phone, doesn't matter who it is, I will ask him, hey, what do you think about this? Because many times I doubt, I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing and that. I have also go with Joe and ask him for feedback of things that I figure out that I notice that I do wrong. Like personally with my wife, she tells me, hey, like you're doing this and it's inappropriate, and I have to go to Joe and ask him about it, feedback about it. I have to talk to you about it to get that feedback. I go to Alberto to get feedback just because when I speak to Alberto, of course, I speak in Spanish. And many times, in the background of culturally how we work and how we express in things, he gives me extremely good feedback in areas that help me understand how I can get better and improve. Like any change takes time, but all of you guys have actually given me feedback that actually helped me little by little to get better and improve. Personally and professionally, because many things applies on both.
All right, man. Thank you, and thank you for the nod there as well. It's our pleasure. It's what we do. What motivates you, and what are your true passions?
My motivation and true passions. Well, my biggest motivation is my family, that's for sure. And that will be my priority in every decision that I make. With passion, I think working with people is something that I really enjoy. I don't know if you knew, but I got a full scholarship for engineering, and I let it go because I hated it with passion. And then I actually went to trying to be a therapist and went to psychology. And then I realized that in that environment, I was actually getting depressed, figuring out all the things that people go through. And I don't think that I will be able to be sane by the end of the day, dealing with things about mental disorders and things like that. I was just going depressed just by studying about them. And I said, no, this is something that I don't want to deal with. And I don't think that that's the way that I want to work with people. And that's why I moved to management. And that's why I went for coaching. I really want to work with people. However, I think the end result, especially in coaching, is about helping people to find their own answers, because the idea is that everyone has the answers. It's just providing them the way to get to those answers, and that, I believe, would be a key thing with working with people. I'm strongly believe in not providing the answers all the time and expecting people to actually go and follow my idea, what I believe. Sometimes I might get frustrated and express things when I shouldn't, and I should have the patience to apply the things that I know, even though mainly I apply them when I'm in a coaching environment, for example. But it's working with people. If you have been like that for a really long time, I really enjoy seeing people like getting better and progressing and working with them. So that's a big passion of mine. And reading a lot. I really like that.
All right, thank you. What will be your strategy that makes you become a leader that gets followed compared to just giving orders?
Well, I really believe that I have worked with that for a long time already, and I believe a lot of them respect me for the things that I have done with them and the support that I have given them in different areas, not only professionally but personally, and how I really care about them in those aspects. And I think that's something that they will respect. Also, I believe that the people have a natural need to be heard. And I know that might sound as a slow process to get into that, but I really believe that, like Stephen Covey said, that slow with people is actually fast and fast is slow. So that process that goes slowly will actually pay dividends at the end. And that trust that they will have in me as I explain them and give them the motivation to work towards a goal and a specific, like the why they're doing things will actually just make like a ripple effect when it affects all other aspects of their work environment. I think that for example, everything can be focusing on customers, for example, and all the metrics will actually fall into place to where we want them to be. And if they're not in place, I prefer to be the reasons for things that are not under control. And I'll make sure I will do my best for allowing them not to worry about those, but worry about the things that they can control and they can do something about it. But there are many times that also we see things that we don't have control over, that we actually can do something about it. And I have talked to some of them about it. For example, I have an experience with one of them that was frustrated with a customer that he wanted certain pieces of equipment and he didn't get it at that point because sometimes they're so focused on following certain rules that they don't realize that sometimes we have to break those rules to take care of those customers because we have to do the right thing. And I express them how I understand that part, but how important it is to do those things. Like we have to take care of those customers, and sometimes it's going to be more expensive for us to come back. That actually taking care of them in that exact moment. And I think many of the things that I have applied that have allowed me to be successful in what I do, I will be able to get them for them to apply them. And I think that naturally that I really care about them. And I think that most of them, if not all of them, know it. And that normally creates people a desire to care and to follow that person because of that. I doubt that someone will.
Hey, Michael. We lost you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah, I was getting a call and the guy was calling me.
Okay.
What's the last thing that you guys heard? I don't know.
Just like 2 seconds ago.
Okay, so I believe that I know they care about that. I know that they know that I care about them and I really respect them, and I think that's going to be one of those big parts. I think in the moment that there is no respect and the person knows that the person doesn't care about them, it's one of the main reasons for you to follow because you're the leader and because you have the authority over them than most other reasons.
All right. What is code?
You got me really good on that one.
How good did I get you?
Extremely good.
Do you know any of code?
I'm trying to look for that meeting.
I'm not asking if you can find it. I'm asking if you know it.
The meaning of each letter now.
Okay. Name as many values as you can.
Oof. I hope that I get that they actually there. Give back. We believe in in do the right thing, like honesty. Customers are a priority. Like I won't be able to put in the words exactly, but customer is our focus. I know that innovation is a big one, especially with how much the company talks about that is needed for us to be successful. And working together is another one. I'm trying to think about my reviews. how like that working together as a team and how we can achieve more that way. And I think that's it. I might have missed a couple. I honestly don't.
Okay. All right. What will be your strategy to keep everyone reminded of the care portion of code, which is a hint for and an answer for one of those. Care is the C. So what will be your strategy to keep everyone reminded of the care portion of code in the midst of all of the other things that can go on in the company?
Now, do you want to specifically go and care about the customers or care between each other, or both?
The care portion of code, and care and code applies to everything. So
okay. So I know that there are many changes going on, and that might affect the perspective of some people, and they think about time, they look different things to look for the reason maybe not to do certain things and go in a hurry. But caring for each other, I think I will try to build on the culture that we have and helping each other to realize that those times that we are stuck in jobs, and that happens to us, and then the best of our times, that we're taking care of each other, that we actually will part of the care is to have a personal sacrifice many times to do it, even though that may result in us taking longer or getting to our families later. And I think that I would not only teach that by explaining it to them, but I think they have seen it. I think also the important part is to help them see every customer as a family member. I think that if it's a family member, we will tend to do more that the average thing that normally people do. Like if I'm in a customer and I know something is wrong, it kills me to think that old lady could be my grandma and someone would do that to her, so I had to do it. I cannot just go away. So I think that would be the main thing. Because I think we go back to that part that when they start feeling that they're cared for, especially in the mentality that is nowadays in things. I think that when they know that they're being taken care of, then people are going to tend more into care about others. And I think that would be one of the best ways to do it, by example and by showing them.
Okay. What would you do if you're coaching someone on how to change things and they confront you with pushback?
Well, first, I don't think that the pushback is bad. I actually think that that's more of an asset than anything else, because when someone pushes you back with something, it's going to make you think of things that you would never have thought before. When two people agree in something, one of them is really extra. When two people disagree, then it's good because you're getting progress about it. Now, if someone is pushing back, I will try to figure out I think empathy will be the best thing to apply in there, because understanding where they're coming from and what you're seeing is one of the most important things we can do. Again, people have a natural part of they want to be heard, understood, and until that person mainly is understood, they will try to defend that point of view. So me going and attacking back and reacting to it is not going to be effective. In the moment that you listen, understand, and they know that you understand, then the people open naturally to listen to what is the solution that you have or the option that you have. And at the end of the day, when they push back, I know that the end solution is going to be better than any of us doing it by ourselves in the first place.
Okay. Why do we need you in this position?
Why do you need me in that position? I think that's a tough question. I really believe that if we want the same thing, and if this position really needs someone that is going to work hard to become better today than was yesterday and better tomorrow than I'm today, that would be a good reason for needing me in that position. Because I believe in personal progress is something that I'm passionate about, that I'm always looking for understanding and improving. And that's something that I apply in the things that I do always. And I believe that in this position also it's someone that know the guys, they care about the guys already, and have the respect from the guys who would be extremely useful in getting things rolling right away. I don't believe I'm the only one on this planet that can do the job, but I believe that I can do the job, and I will work hard to get things done.
Out of your 30, 60, 90, just some of those things there. We talk about, and we say this all the time, that you don't have to have a title to be a leader. So
Agree.
Some of my questions for you would be, have you been doing these things within yourself that are on here? And likewise, what have you been doing out of this 30, 60, 90 within the team already as a leader within the team without the title?
So many of the things that mainly happen a lot is that guys will call asking for things that they need. Like for me, carrying and trying to address the part that they need progress, every time that I see something that needs to be addressed, I will, a lot of times, if I feel that it needs to go to Joe, I will go to Joe and let him know what I saw and what it needs to be, addressed with the person. I've always tell him about, for example, when I was with a couple of guys and realized that they need more training on Taigini, and explain him that, hey, like we need to explain certain things in Taigini for the guys because they're not really realizing what they're doing, because some of them were doing, for example, all the signing and then actually doing the remote signing at the same time when there's no need for it. And of course, I coach them on it when I see it, and explain them that is not really a need to do it and how it's actually supposed to work. Not only that, but there's circumstances when frustration have arisen, and I think I have been able to help them see a different perspective and not to worry about the things that really is nothing they can do about. I think a difference will be in having positions or not, is that there's certain things that they have expressed concerns when I have approached them to try to implement, and they're concerned about it, and they're concerned that the company, if they approve it or not. And I think that it's not really that the company would be a punishment to them for it, or that the company won't approve of doing it, but the perspective of how things work doesn't allow them to really see, like, hey, this is perfectly fine to try new things and practicing innovation, and they worry about the consequences if something doesn't go right. And I think the position will help with those things, because they'll feel okay, like we can actually go and do that. I also have worked with many of them when training and after training, and how to help them to think about situations. Right now, I'm trying to get them more into finding the solution more than actually me just giving it to them and that's it. For example, yesterday I had to go with David, and he was freaking out about a job that he was doing, and I had to stay there for longer than I would like to, just because I have 2 jobs to go to, and that got me behind. but I was able to calm him down and actually work with him and looking for different solutions. And many times I really feel tempted about giving him the solution right away, but another one's like, hey, what would you do? I'm trying to get him to think through the process. And actually, because in that moment, if he just listens to me, look at me, and don't do anything, he would just keep going. And he won't learn as much as if I push him to think about it and get him to call tech support, even though I had the answer to it. So he knows that, hey, if I'm not sure, I can call them too. I know that a lot of times they might rely on us. So I think that and then have been the main things that I have done to apply those things. I hope that the position will actually give me more time to go through the numbers for every single one member of the team. I actually also tried to get him to look at their numbers. When I asked for, when Joe says the numbers, I asked him to send the list for us to check them out, and I'm trying to get them to at least look for a way to look at them and analyze what they're doing, good or bad. And again, all the situations where they have complained about something they're struggling with, and trying to get them to see it in a different way. I still think that it's a long way to go with that, but I think those are the main things.
Okay. All right. Joe, did you have anything else that has come up since I've been asking questions?
The only thing that I still have a question about, and we've talked about this recently, is how you're helping people, you're having conversations, you're meeting up with people, you're helping them with something, and nobody knows about it, right? So, well, I mean, you and that other person knows about it, but I don't know about it. Tommy doesn't know about it. Sometimes you do bring things up where it's like, hey, this person maybe needs help with this. Sometimes you don't. I think a lot of times you don't, for different reasons. And I know Tommy and I have both, over probably the last couple of years, at least a year, have been trying to get not just you, but everyone to communicate more and what they're doing, and having the kind of pushing to have the unseen be seen, right? So, for example, like that example you gave of yesterday, this is the first time I've ever hearing of it, right?
Correct.
So, and I'm not saying you weren't going to send something about it, or it's only been a day or whatever, but I know we've asked and pushed you quite a bit, and not just you, but like I said, the team in general, to say, hey, if you're having conversations or there's issues going on, or there's, someone is struggling with something, or you kind of help someone out, send an email recap, right? Or, whatever the case is, like some way to document it, to show that, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're working on. I helped this person with this. It doesn't have to be a coaching document or a coaching recap. It's just more of an FYI, right? Like hey, here's some things we discussed together when we met up, some tips that we discussed together, some solutions we came up with. It was great work, whatever the case is. So, this isn't just recent. I mean, like I said, we've been talking to you about this for quite a long time.
Agreed.
So, like Tommy's question was, what have you been doing without the title? I'm kind of going a little bit more deeper, and like, yes, you might be saying, I've been doing this and talking to this person, doing that and this, but we don't hear about it until after the fact, or we never hear about it. So I guess my question is, why?
I think, for example, yesterday, let's use that one as an example. For some reason, I don't know, like my first thought is like, I didn't thought it was like necessary to involve you in it. I didn't saw something that, like, I think that in the process, I guess giving you a recap would be extremely useful. I have to agree with that. But I think in that moment, what I'm thinking is, first, I was stressed about it. The flipping thing wasn't working. And I got home at 7:30 practically working with all that, because I got behind and then I had to work with those two other cameras. But I think I don't know, for some reason I didn't thought about letting you know, because I saw the problem as solved. And I think that might be the main reason for it. I think a lot of times I've seen the problem as maybe not big enough, or something that I would be concerned about. to like address with you when I get concerned. I go to you and I say, hey, for example, like that, taking any training or different like that, because I think that would be something that would be extremely useful. But if we get to a resolution, I think that's why I haven't really sent them in. Because yesterday, for example, I sent you to put the ANA to help David, and then after that, I didn't talk about it. I was just thinking about doing that with him and working with him for that. I think it was like 2 hours or whatever time it was, and focusing on the problem. But after everything was solved, I know that he probably called you with the home damage. Did he call you for the home damage?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, then that one we figured out. Yeah. So then he called me about it and we talked about it. But I was guessing like, hey, like he have to talk to Joe for a home damage like that. But
Yeah, I
don't know. I
understand.
think it's that part that is a resolution done and I don't communicate it. And I think that's me just being more of sending everything that happened, anything else. Because I think that when the resolution happened and it's something being done, I honestly don't see sometimes, I haven't seen the need to say, hey, but I can see how, for example, David and this is what happened, keeping in track of it. Like I see how it's important to do that. I just, for some reason in that moment, what I'm thinking is like, okay, this is solved, let me keep going what I have to do, and sending that up, I just haven't, for some reason still doesn't click for me on that part. And the main thing that I send you is the thing that I think that it needs to be addressed to address with the guys and work more with the guys in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's
that's
more.
what's going on.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand that part of it, and I think it's more. It's broader than that. It's bigger than that. I mean, it's like I said. I mean, you may not even see the value in doing it, and that might be why you're not doing it. You know, I know. You know, like I said, we've discussed many times with you of you know, showing the things you're doing and having the unseen be seen. So it's not just about a recap or whatever. It's not just about one scenario, but it's a lot bigger than that. It's a lot broader. So again, you know, like you said earlier, you know, trying to having people you know, kind of have their own input and their ideas of what things might, you know, how things might work or things that they can work on, and they might not buy in if it's not something that, you know, they're invested in, and you know that they don't see the value in it. So it might be something again where you just don't see the value in, and it doesn't again, it doesn't have to be something someone has to work on. It doesn't have to be something that, you know, they need to improve on, but it's more of like, here's the scenarios we ran into. Here's the discussion. When you called me, we discussed this, this, and this. And it acts as reminders, and it helps people kind of, oh yeah, we did talk about that, or whatever the case is. I mean, so that's more of what it is. So, but again, like I said, it's been quite a while since that we've had those types of discussions. And it really hasn't happened, to be honest. So that's why I was wondering, you know, why. So
Another thing is that it's like when I get to the conclusion of that, my next thought is now let me send that to Joe or let him like I just honestly don't think about that. Mainly when it happens, it's just normal conversations, and then I get to my job and I keep going and I don't think about it. And then naturally, I'm always doing that with the guys when I talk to them. So I don't know. I think I agree. Like I understand how that is useful, but I don't know why I haven't been able to put that and just send out that feedback every single time that happens.
Yep. Yeah, I was just, yeah, again, it's more of a just wondering type thing, since we were kind of discussing those things, and like Tommy was saying, you know, his question is what he's been doing now. So, but other than that, I don't have any other questions. Do you have any questions for us that you've thought of or you're wondering about?
Not really.
Okay. Tommy, did you have anything else?
No, I'm good. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for that answers and the great detail.
Yep.
I'm sorry?
I just said thank you for the answers and the great detail.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks. Yeah. So again, like Tommy said, thanks for putting together the 30, 60, 90, going over it, answering our questions, being patient and willing to go through this. So, you know, we'll be making a decision, you know, pretty soon, and we'll just kind of go from there. But thanks for taking the time.
All right. Perfect, man. Take care,
All right.
guys.
Have a good one. Thanks, Tommy.
You do. Bye.
Thanks, fellas. Later.